is the department planning to close areas of fishing off BC's coast?
What I will say to you is that I believe in marine protected areas we can do both. We can support fishing because that is an economic drive.
You're not answering the question. You can sit here and say, I am going to close areas of fishing and I believe it's in the best interest of Canada, but you can't sit here and just not tell people the truth.
Aaron Gunn here, Member of Parliament for North Island Powell River. I wanted to show you guys a surreal exchange I had with the Liberal Minister of Fisheries and Oceans, Joanne Thompson, during committee, where she ardently defends the Liberal plan to impose mass closures to fishing grounds off BC's coast while refusing to acknowledge exactly what this would mean for fishermen and our economy. Take a look.
Minister, the last time we spoke, you accused fishermen of spreading misinformation relating to MPAs and the government's plan to close significant areas of BC's coast to fishing. And yet, we recently learned from Kathy Graham, the DFO Director of Marine Planning and Conservation, that your government is still planning to implement the UN's 30 by 30 framework and that the department's previously released drafts, the ones that showed massive closures along BC's coast, were still the basis for what is planned going forward. So my question for you, Minister, is would you like to use this opportunity to apologize to fishermen, their families, and coastal communities and acknowledge that, yes, the government is planning to close areas of BC's coast to fishing?
What I will say to you is what I said the last time I was here. I believe we can do both. I believe that we can move forward with conservation sustainability.
What do you mean by
and at
do
the
both?
same,
What do you mean by do both?
At the same time, if you could allow me to finish, at the same time, we support fisheries. We can do both in marine protected areas, and I certainly will work to ensure both happen.
So I appreciate that your argument that there are no trade-offs in this. I obviously disagree, but what I'm trying to get on the record, because we've had deflections and evasions on this question, is the department planning to close areas of BC's coast to fishing, yes or no? And do you acknowledge that marine closures have real economic effects?
What I will say to you, which is what I've just said, marine protected areas enable us to have conservation sustainability for the next generation, but also maintain fishing.
Okay, I appreciate
and we can
that.
do both, and it's important that we do both. I'm not able to say more than that to you, so no, I'm not going to answer
So you
the
can't
other
give
question.
a yes or no question
Because it's
Kathy
about
Graham
balance,
told
sir.
us.
It's about balance, and
Okay,
we can do
that's
both.
fine, but I'm asking you some simple yes or no questions so we can get a framework for what is happening. Yes or no, is the department planning to close areas of fishing off BC's coast as part of the marine planning area plan? Yes or no?
The officials are going to speak in the next hour, so
You're
you're
not
welcome
planning
to
to close
ask them.
areas?
What I will say to you is that I believe in marine protected areas we can do both. We can support fishing because that is an economic driver.
Are you planning closures, yes or no?
I can answer
That's what
I
marine
can
planning
answer.
areas are. They're closures.
You can ask
They're
the
not jet
officials
ski
in the
parks
second
or
hour.
people are going water ski. What are they? They're closures by definition.
What I believe is we need to have conservation, sustainability, so the next generation are able to also participate in fisheries. It is our
Okay,
role.
I understand all that. I'm just trying to get a simple yes or no answer out of you.
You're trying to bait an answer, and I am
I'm just
telling
trying to
you
get the truth.
we can do both. And
You can do
beyond
both
that,
what?
we
Close
can have
areas?
fishing. We can have fishing activity, and we can also promote
Are you planning to close
sustainability.
areas to fishing on BC's coast?
We can have balance.
Balance of what? So a balance of closing areas and still having a, that's the entire point of marine planning areas, is to close, to restrict access for various forms of fishing in various areas. Do you agree that is the point of marine planning areas?
We can circle around this for the rest of the time I have today, but I will answer exactly the same way.
Are you still using draft scenario 2 as the basis for marine planning areas planning framework, as was reported by your Director General, Kathy Graham? Yes or no?
You're welcome to ask these questions to officials in the next hour. I will answer the same way. We need to have balance. We need to maintain conservation sustainability,
So
and we need
you're
to
considering
support
adopting the UN 30 by 30 framework without closing any areas to any forms of fishing whatsoever?
I believe we need balance.
You're evading the question. I'm asking a very simple question.
I'm answering in the capacity
No, you're not.
of
You're
Minister
not
of
answering the
Fisheries.
question, Minister.
We can do both.
You're not answering the question. You can sit here and say, I am going to close areas of fishing, and I believe it's in the best interest of Canada. But you can't sit here and just not tell people the truth, not tell fishermen the truth, Why don't you just acknowledge on the record that you're planning to close these areas to fishing?
You just don't want to hear what I'm saying. We can have...
You're evading the question, trying to prevent yourself from going on record, acknowledging what everyone knows to be the case, which is large closures are coming to British Columbia's coast over the next few years if you want to meet the UN's 30 by 30 framework.
Within a marine protected area, we can honor fisheries and we can also protect and conserve for the next generation. It is balance, and I believe in balanced
no
approaches.
fisheries are going to be losing access. You're not going to. The prawns are going to lose 30% of access on the Central Coast as per DFO's draft scenario 2.
I believe we need to stay at a table. We need to always remain in communication, and we can have balanced approaches.
You're not answering the question. Fishermen deserve the truth in this country. Just level with them of what the government is planning to do, or if you don't know, say that too.
We will move forward with balanced approaches.
Now, I do not know why the minister is so gleefully willing to close large areas to fishing off BC's coast, but these MPAs really matter to many of my constituents who earn their livelihood fishing sustainably off Vancouver Island. The minister claims that she can do both, that she can enact these mass closures while somehow not harming BC's fishing industry. That is obviously a complete fantasy. When you close off existing areas to fishing, when you force fishermen to compete in a smaller and smaller area, you leave less fish available for them to catch. And perhaps most ironically, by concentrating the same size fleet in less area, you increase the risk of localized overfishing. It's actually worse for the environment, and you also force fishermen to spend even more time at sea, away from their families, burning fuel, pursuing the same amount of catch. The truth is, Canada does not need the UN's 30 by 30 plan. We have and we can further develop the best fisheries management policies right here in our own country. Policies made in Canada, by Canadians, for Canadians.